I'm going to just be right here. Welcome, guys, to our director/TD class for Creative U. Basic concepts of video switching and directing. This class will cover the basic concepts that you see listed on the front here, including purpose of cameras in church, video terminology and technology, camera movement and terminology, what is a video switcher, what are macros, everything about the center screen, then shot composition, direction and terminology, camera shading, recording and streaming, and then the volunteer positions and expectations. Sounds like a lot, but like the first part of this, we're going to kind of breeze through. You're going to be able to hang on to this and make reference to it later on. But just real quick, why cameras in church? Why do we even have cameras in church? Because it can start to feel like a production. It can start to feel like it's a concert or it's a TV show or it's, whatever. Why cameras? There's a few reasons, and we actually utilize almost all of these reasons. The first one is archiving. As a person who edits videos and person who works at a church with videos, I find it frustrating if hey, I want to see Pastor James teaching in 1995. You know what I mean? What did that look like? What did the place look like? And if we didn't have a camera, we didn't archive it. There's no history. There's no going back and ever since I got here 5 years ago, I've started an archival process to where one service from each Sunday. We'll pick whichever the pastor prefers. But for the past 5 years, one service from every Sunday is saved on a computer as a file, gets compressed into an H.264, so it's as small as possible, but still HD. And then that gets stored on a hard drive and put into deep storage online with some backup. So that, years from now, we can access that and see, hey, what did the church look like back in, 2013? When we go, what James looked like, and all that, right? IMAG is another reason. IMAG stands for image magnification. This venue is big enough for IMAG. The reason you have IMAG is that when you start getting into larger venues, the farther away you're sitting, it feels like the pastor is too far away to connect with them. You're sitting and they're this big at a large venue, or they're kind of up there, but you don't feel like you're connected to them. Serious thinking that I'm talking to her. But IMAG allows us to get a magnified image of the pastor and put them on the screen so that the people in the back feel like they can see his face, feel like they can see her face or their expressions and stuff like that. So it's always important because the idea is IMAG, especially in this room. If we were just recording for archive, we wouldn't need to have it on the screen in the room. Nobody would have to see that. But the screens are here, camera shot on the pastor, because we want image magnification. So that means if the pastor is smaller on this screen than they are in real life, we're kind of defeating the purpose of why they're even on the screen here. So sometimes we'll cut to a shot that's a wide shot, but we don't ever want to stay on that shot because the whole idea, if it's on the screen here, it's so that people can feel closer, not farther away. So that's for IMAG, image magnification. Remote viewing, that happens here as well. Remote viewing meaning if there's an overflow, if this room is just not big enough to hold everybody, and we have TVs out in the family room. Same thing at our Northwest campus. There are TVs out in the patio. People can sit out in the patio and watch. There's TVs in the foyer so people can be in there. And we actually send the feed over to the nursery. We have feeds going into the nursery for the cry rooms here, and even all the way as far back as Kid Life, so that they can see what's happening in the service. Service is wrapping up. We're going to start getting the kids ready and stuff like that. So remote viewing is another reason for cameras in church. And then production value. Sometimes this is the one that's, it's the most artistic, but at the same time, it's the one that it's dangerous. We could get carried away if we're focusing too much on this. But it's the idea of our society is already so used to seeing things on screen. People go to concerts, they watch award shows, they see things going on, they watch, America's Got Talent, and there's multiple camera shots and lights, and they're constantly inundated with this type of visual. And one of the things at church, we don't want to make it a show, but at the same time, we want to feel like we're relevant to what people are already experiencing. People think like, well, church should be traditional and hymnals, singing, and the organ and stuff like that. But you got to think, okay, that's cool. But there was a time when that was cutting edge. There was a time when people were coming to church to view the art. The stained glass windows. Why people would come in and appreciate those and be in the middle of all this artistic expression and the organs, and they would feel like that is something they want to be part of. If we still stick with those areas, it won't feel relevant. It'll feel dated. So we want the service itself to feel relevant to what people experience elsewhere in the world. People go to a concert. When they come in here, we want them to feel like it's a natural place that they would normally hang out and they would normally be. Because again, a lot of what we do here at the church is based around the idea of making an environment where a non-church person feels comfortable. That everything for Sunday morning is about making an environment for the non-church person to feel comfortable. We're just going to go briefly over these video terminologies and the technology as far as like things that you might come in contact with, video connectors. What does the word transmit mean? Basically, it means sending a signal. Sometimes that's wireless transmitting. Sometimes that's over a cable. And you might be, hey, I'm not getting a feed from the drums on camera 5. We go over there, the camera's on. This has happened multiple times. What's going on? Well, there's a cable that runs out of the camera into a converter, then it runs all the way literally on this floor. So you see it taped down all the way over here to the video booth. About halfway through here, there is a connector that every once in a while somebody will disconnect. I have not figured out why yet, but I will. It's because it's a BNC connector, which means it's a twist lock. The two come together and twist and lock. So just pulling it apart won't separate it. So I find it constantly separated. I'm like, somebody literally has to, push, turn, and pull it apart. So you can't just bump it with your foot. That's why that particular connector is a broadcast level connector, because you can't just pull it out, but at the same time, it's not. You remember the old RF cable connectors you had to thread in? It takes forever to thread them. Broadcast needs to be speed, but it also needs to be secure. So the BNC connector was a push in, twist, lock. Same thing, push in, unlock, pull out. So the signal has to transmit. You could start getting interference on signals, especially wireless signals. We get that on our wireless comms. Sometimes we get a little interference coming in, so we have to watch out for that. Video signal literally is the signal of the video that's being transmitted. A single pixel is the dot that makes up the images. So when you see a screen, there's 1,920 pixels wide and 1,080 pixels tall. So you multiply that and you end up with however many 20 some odd million individual pixels on that screen, refreshing 30 times a second. That's how much information is going through there. So it's pretty crazy. So that's the resolution, and the high definition resolution is that 1920 by 1080. There's two connectors we'll use around here, and that's HDMI video and SDI. The SDI video is over that BNC connection that I was talking about. The SDI signal is what's considered a broadcast signal. Everything we have here, this is important to know, everything we have here is broadcast signal, and broadcast equipment, meaning that there is a standard that is used in the broadcast industry for connectors, signal strength, type of equipment, connectivity, compatibility with other equipment, stuff like that. So we're not just a computer connected to a screen. I mean, you can get a laptop, run an HDMI cable out and plug it to a TV, or you can even plug it into a splitter that sends it to a couple of projectors. That's not how it runs here. We use broadcast level equipment for quality reasons and also for usability reasons. That broadcast equipment is highly complex, but most of the time we're able to do highly complex things but operate it fairly simply because it's built that way. It's designed. I tell people, this is really easy to use. This phone is really easy to use because there's a lot of complexity behind it. You could have something that isn't as complex, a little simpler to put together, and maybe a little cheaper, but it'll be harder to use. So the broadcast equipment does cause us to have to do a lot of extra things. A, it's more expensive. B, there's, somebody brings us a DVD, we don't actually have a way to play a DVD to these screens, because a DVD player is not a broadcast piece of equipment. It doesn't run the SDI signal out that we would need it to have. There have to be a bunch of converters and all kinds of stuff like that, and it's not controlled in the same way. So what we do is somebody brings us a DVD, we put it on a computer, rip it to a computer file, and now we can play it as a QuickTime file off of our computer, and our computer is designed, our computer interfaces with broadcast equipment. So everything from our playback computers to the switchers, routers, cameras, every input, every output is ran through broadcast equipment using SDI signal which is serial digital interface. But SDI signal over BNC cables, we can send high definition video and audio 500 feet over a single SDI cable. We can control the cameras. We actually have the video cameras can actually receive control information from the switcher over SDI video cable. So it's a broadcast standard that we use across everything. So everything, remember that broadcast terminology, broadcast equipment. Camera movement and terminology, you're gonna need to know these things. I know that Victor, you're a camera operator, and I don't know if you've been on camera, Miguel, but as a TD and as a director, you're gonna need to know this terminology in order to give camera operators instructions, all right? Pan, tilt, zoom, focus, iris, these are the main things you're gonna be talking about. Pan is looking left and right. Pan left, pan right. Tilting is looking up and down. The camera isn't moving. The camera physically isn't going anywhere. It's still on a tripod, and panning is looking left and right. Tilting is looking up and down. So you don't want to say, hey, pan up, or tilt left. That's wrong. You want to say tilt up, pan left, pan right. So panning is the horizontal left and right movement. Tilting is the vertical up and down movement. Zooming, the lenses we have are broadcast lenses with a zoom control that the harder you push the control down, the faster it zooms in. And you barely touch it, and it can zoom out very, very slow. It has a lot of very sensitive motor to be able to get us those variable speeds. So you can tell, we're going to go over a little bit of terminology in a little bit, but you can ask a camera person to zoom in, zoom out. There'll be other language for that, for, you know, hey, I want you to slowly push in. Push in means, hey, zoom in real quick to the guitar. That means, okay, just get there, boom. All right, now zoom into the guitar. Okay, now give me a pull out, slow pull out. So they, guitar, boom, and nice and easy pull out. So these are terminology and things that you're gonna be telling the camera operators. Focus, the same thing is that the image needs to be in focus, needs to be sharp, and sometimes it's difficult to see that on these high definition cameras. So some of them are manual focus, meaning that there's literally a handle and a physical cable that as you rotate the handle, it's turning a gear and turning the focus ring on the camera. The camera one has an electronic manual focus, meaning that there is a dial that they turn, and that's sending signal to a motor, and the motor is moving the lens element itself. But what that allows us to do is have pre-programmed spots. So camera one is a pre-programmed spot for the message. When people are up on the deck, they hit that, and it focuses to there, and then we're doing worship that's 8 feet back. That distance right there, from where the pastor stands on that deck to where the worship leaders stand, that distance is enough to be out of focus from that camera. That we're focused back here and the person steps up, they'll just be slightly blurry, almost to the point where you really have to look and say, no, hey, camera one, we got to focus up. Camera two, we got to focus up. Iris is the last little part of the lens. It opens and closes, basically makes how bright the camera is. Most of that can be done from your position as the TD. The only time that we have a problem is here at Southwest with these cameras. Sometimes the lenses lose connection, and our camera operators have to disconnect the lens control and plug it back in, and then suddenly we'll get iris control. But the iris is what we want to use to let more or less light in on the cameras, makes the image brighter or darker. Different kinds of cameras and camcorders, you'll see some of these in different locations. ENG means electronic news gathering. They're the large body cameras. These are like ENG cameras. Northwest has one of those as our main camera one. They're basically the camera body and a separate lens, so that we could actually buy different lenses and put it on there. A handy cam is usually going to be a smaller camera, like the one that's recording us right now. It's a smaller camera where the lens and the camera are built in. We have a few of those at Northwest. We have a couple of those. Camera 2, 3, and 4 are all handy cams. 2 is on, they're kind of locked in on tripods. PTZ remote cameras, we have 2 of them here, and we can control those from the back. PTZ is pan, tilt, zoom. So you have a controller that you can control the pan, you control the tilt, you control the zoom. And you actually have iris control on those as well, and focus control on those, but they usually refer to them as PTZ cameras. And the last one is wearable cameras, like a GoPro. We usually put these inside the drum cages because they're small, they get a nice wide view, and they're pretty inconspicuous. You can kind of put it in a little corner and stuff like that. You don't have to have a big old camera mounted on a big old tripod. We actually just have a little gooseneck and a little mount and a GoPro in there at both campuses. All right, what is a video switcher? We're kind of blowing through this stuff fast. I'm giving you all the information. Again, you're going to be able to take this home and have it. If you're watching online, I'll have a link for a PDF version for you to look at this. But a video switcher is an electronic device that mixes multiple video signal inputs from different pieces of video gear and processes these signals and mixes between these signals to get a final program that can be displayed or recorded. A video switcher will usually have options for transitions, cuts, fades, and keys. Some video switchers are standalone units to where the thing actually sitting there, all the plugs go into it, but ours is different. Other video switches have rack-mounted base. That's why I have a picture, these two pictures. The unit on the bottom is the actual video switcher. All the plugs, all the processing, all the plugs go into here, all the processing is done there. It can be accessed through a computer if we need to. The picture above is the controller. It's the control surface. It's what we use to interface with the switcher. And it's easy to look at that and say, oh, that's the switcher. It's really just the controller. We can actually run the switcher through a computer. We can actually run all the functions of the switcher that you would do by hand can be done through a laptop, because the actual switcher, the picture of the unit on the bottom, is one that's actually doing all the work, and it is connected to our network, and I can actually go on, I'll show you a little bit over here, we can access it, and we'll usually have a computer always access to it. That's how we control the cameras, camera shading for here, and that's also how we control the audio levels that goes into the video switcher. A broadcast video switcher operates at a certain video level in order to be compatible with other broadcast industry equipment. So again, everything we have is broadcast. So everything, all the inputs, this could be a problem sometimes, but all the inputs, because it's a broadcast switcher, there is no transcoding going on, meaning that the switcher is not going to convert from one signal to another. All the signals coming into the switcher have to be the same. So that's why the GoPro doesn't actually send the correct signal. We have to run the GoPro through a converter, converts it to the correct broadcast signal, and then that gets sent over to the switcher. So same thing with the computer. We'll have one of our laptops in there does connect directly to the switcher, but we have to tell the laptop to output a certain video signal, otherwise you won't be able to see it on the screen. Okay, basic parts and actions of a video switcher. You're going to see a picture there. This picture is of the multi-view TV. This shows your inputs, shows your program and preview. What's program? Program refers to the final mix. It's what's going out. When you're switching, when you're selecting what input you're going, and you're transitioning to, and you're adding the lyrics and all that kind of stuff, the final output is called the program out. All right, the final program output. It's important to know that on our screens, that is always on the top right. If you look on that picture, you'll see it says program at the very bottom of that little picture on the top right. It's a picture of Jim. He's got his hand up, but underneath him, you see it says program. That image is what's always going out live. The image to the left of it is preview. Preview is what the next image you have coming up. Preview, okay, we're live on camera 1. Preview camera 2. You're going to preview, get ready, okay, switch to camera 2. Preview camera 5, you switch it, and again, when we get our hands on it in there, it's going to make more sense, but the program, just always know what's on the top right of your image, of that screen, on that screen when you're sitting in front of the switcher and you got that TV in front of you, whatever's on your top right is what's going live to everybody. All right, so if it's black, then nobody's seeing anything. If you're looking at the top left and I see camera 2 on the top left and you're not noticing that the top right is black, you're thinking you're live, but you're getting mixed up. You're looking at the preview, not looking at the program. So make sure you know that the preview is on the top left. Sorry, preview is on the top right. Preview is on the top left, program is on the top right. Program is what's going out. A bus button. Let's go back real quick, one page back, and take a look at that switcher controller. If you look in this area down here, this is called the bus. And our switcher has 10 inputs. And you'll have controls for the buttons 1 through 10, and then a few extra like color, black, something like that for some program stuff. But that bottom bus, that bottom row of buttons, and that next row of buttons above it are identical, 1 through 10. Same input, same everything. The bottom row is preview. So whatever you do on that bottom row is going to come up on the preview screen. Whatever you do on that top row is going live program out. That middle row. That top row we'll go over another time. But yeah, that bottom row is preview. The one right above it is program. Whatever you do on that one, program goes live. But that's called a bus. That's the program and preview bus. T-bar, you guys have seen the T-bar. It's the thing that you grab pull it back and forth. The T-bar controls the transitions. Whatever transition you've selected, by default, we usually have it on a mix or a dissolve. So it just fades across, but you can do wipes and zoom effects, and we try to avoid all that because it is kind of cheesy. There's a few reasons you would use it, but we don't usually use it a whole lot here. There's an auto take button next to the T-bar. And what that means is that we've programmed a transition to be a third of a second. So it's a fairly quick transition. Cuts can sometimes feel a little jarring, but a slow transition might feel like, and get to the next thing, please. So we've programmed our default transitions to be 10 frames or a third of a second, because there's 30 frames, 30 still images per second. So when you hit that auto take button, it's just like moving that T-bar however fast. The auto take. So we use the auto take button a lot. Next to the auto take button is a cut button. Does the same thing as auto take, it just does it instantly as a cut. Preview 1, cut, hit the cut. Preview 2, fade, hit the auto take. Preview 3, slow fade, grab the T-bar. So if you're gonna do a cut, you hit the cut button. If you're gonna do a standard dissolve and roll video, preset ProPresenter, auto take, and it does a nice fade to the video signal. So cuts, mix, dissolve. Again, every signal that comes in is an input. All right, and there's different outputs, and all that gets ran through our routers and to different things, and we can control where those go. Downstream keyer. This is the interesting part that kind of takes a little bit of explanation. A keyer is something that we put information over the top of something else. The easiest way to understand a keyer is when you see people doing stuff in front of a green screen, like the weatherman. They're in front of a green screen. The switcher can take that green, make it disappear, and show the map behind them in real time. A downstream keyer, because a keyer is going to use the T-bar, you get to preview that and use, instead of a transition, use a keyer, and it's going to key it. A downstream key means that it's going to get whatever you're doing on the mix. Camera 1, fade to 2, it's going to get that, and then after you're done with the T-bar and doing all that, the downstream keyer, when you push it, is going to add something over the top of all of that. So you can still keep switching and everything like that, and then after all of that, it's adding that over the top. And usually that's for graphics, which is what we use it for lyrics. Lyrics and scriptures coming from the ProPresenter computer is sending us alpha channel information, a key source and a key insert. It's actually sending us 2 video signals. You don't have to know the details of all that, but basically it's sending that in a way so that when you hit that DSK, downstream keyer, DSK, you'll hear us say DSK in, DSK out. You just in, boom, you hit it, you hit the button once. Again, there is a cut and an auto. We always hit the auto button, that way it fades in instead of cuts in. But the cut light is the one that'll be on. So I wrapped white tape around the auto take button and white tape around the DSK auto take button. So those are the buttons we use to bring in the DSK and bring it out. So even though it's a different button that lights up, we want to hit the one that has the tape around it. So DSK in, you might hear the person on the computer say, I need words on the screen. It means that they're running the words, it's running to the switcher, but the TD has not told DSK to be in, so the scriptures and the words are not on the screen on the program out. So we got to hit DSK in. So you got to be on top of that downstream keyer. Macros are interesting. This is something fairly new over this year. Macros allow the user to program multiple steps for a switcher to perform with one command. They're used to create complicated, repeatable procedures that would be tiresome to have to remember each time. And they're created by recording each step. I'll create the macros by saying, I'm going to record a macro. Cool. So now when I hit record, it's recording everything that I do. So I'm like, okay, and start recording. And I go, preset ProPresenter, and it remembers that. And then I said, now change the transition to fade and change the transition time to 1 second. Cool. Now hit auto take. Boom, and it does a 1 second transition. Now, then I program, now wait 1 second before you do the next command. So it programs in a 1 second hesitation. Now preset 2. Cool, and it records that. So it records step by step by step. I add in timers, and then when I'm done, it records that. So I just go, okay, macro, play, and it goes, preset, go to black, change that input, change the transition time to 1 second, come back up, come over to here, change the transition time back to 10 frames, and all of that is programmed. So I just go play on the macro, and it goes dun, 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 dun. and just all that's programmed in, because that's all stuff. It's a whole procedure that we're going to read about in just a second here of what we have to do to bring that center screen down and run center screen during video venue. Whether it's we're streaming from a campus to a campus or for playing back video, we got to run these macros. The macros are controlled, are accessed through the menu buttons. I'm going to go back to this picture here. These are the menu buttons up here, and these are the knobs that change the information that's on that screen. So these menu buttons actually have little tiny screens in them, and so when you select something, that little screen changes. It's contextual, meaning that if I go to macros, it'll show me all the information for macros. If I go to transitions, it'll show me all the different transitions I can do. So these buttons change all the time. But those are your menu buttons. So when I'm talking about here in macros, we select macro in the menu buttons, and that's going to show us our playback and record options. The knobs can be used to select pre-programmed macros. And here at New Life, we have created 3 commonly used macros located in macros 5, 6, and 7. There's actually a macro 3 for something, there's a macro 1 for something else, but you're going to be using 5, 6, and 7 a lot when we're doing screens. So macro 5 is it's called Pro to Center. This is the macro we select when we want to send the Pro Presenter input to program to show on the side screens, as well as to simultaneously send the program output to the center screen, which by default is showing black to look like it's off. So here's what happens. If we have to wait to turn that on, that center projector on, it takes a long time for it to turn on. But if we turn it on, now it's showing the same images that these are, and during worship we'll have the image of the worship team over there. So what we have to do is that we have to turn that on, but we have to send it a black image so that it's projecting black so nobody even sees that it's on. Then at the right point in service, when it's time to play the video, we got to tell that, okay, instead of seeing black, you need to see the program video that's going to all the other screens. So we've built that in as a macro. By default, when you turn on the switcher is sending black to that output for that projector by itself. So every time we're running stuff, that's always receiving a black signal. Whether the projector's on or not, that projector's always receiving a black signal. In the morning, we turn it on, we test it, it gets up and running, and during service, when it's time to send the video venue like we did a few weeks ago for our road trip series where Pastor was delivering the message by video. The video is on the Pro Presenter computer. We play the bumper and the screen comes down, and then at the right moment you hit play on that macro, and that macro makes that receive the signal that everybody else is receiving. All right? You notice I'm jumping from 5 to 7. Macro 7, macro 7 is if we were streaming from Northwest, or if we were at Northwest and streaming from Southwest, there's a laptop that has a stream, and it works the same way. It's just instead of macro 7, instead of sending the Pro Presenter computer to the center screen, it sends the streaming computer to everything into the center screens. That way we're watching the stream come in from the other campus. So those two work almost identical. Pro to center and stream to center work almost identical. It's just which input, either coming from our computer that plays Pro Presenter or coming from the streaming computer. So like in a couple of, let's see, on October 7th, we have a guest speaker here, and he's going to be speaking live. This is where it gets fun. He's going to be speaking live at the 9 o'clock here. So 9 o'clock, worship happens, and the speaker's going to come up. We play a bumper video. The speaker comes up, the live shot of camera 5. He teaches the whole message. You know, Pastor James comes up, introduces the guest speaker, comes down, teaches the message, and goes on. But at Northwest, they're going to have a video stream from here going over there for the 9 o'clock service. And at their 9 o'clock service, it goes to the bumper video. They have the streaming computer, and then when it's time for the bumper video to end, they're going to send the streaming computer live to their center screens, receiving our camera shot from Southwest over at Northwest in real time. Then it gets fun, because as soon as he's done here, he leaves to go to Northwest. We have to pull a recording that we just recorded of him, put it on the Pro Presenter computer, and at the 10:30, we play the bumper video and then play the recording of him from the 9 o'clock on our center screen while he's live over at Northwest in front of their cameras, and they're recording him. Then at the 12 o'clock, Northwest plays back their recording, and either we play back our recording or he comes back and teaches live. He hasn't decided yet what he wants to do. So all in one day, all of them have like Northwest will be getting all of them. their first gathering will be a stream coming in. Their second gathering will be the guy live on stage, and their third gathering will be playing back from recording. All happening on the same day, utilizing all of these macros. So there's that, events happen like that to where we need those macros, and that's what will happen. Be aware. I had bolded that there down at the bottom. Be aware, each macro is timed for smooth transitions and can take 2 to 3 seconds to be completely carried out. Because it's going to set this, do a 1 second fade, pause, preset this, do another 1 second fade. So it's timing all those things out. It's important that you don't touch anything on the switcher while a macro is running. Because any action taken on the switcher while the macro is running will interrupt the macro at whatever stage it was when it was interrupted. And if that happens, it may be difficult to know what the macro is doing. So if it's got 7 steps to do, and it's going step 1, step 2, step 3, and you touch something, you touch the T-bar, you hit a preset button, it's all step 3, oh, never mind, and it stops the macro at whatever step it was. It could have been changing a transition, it could have been setting a preset, whatever it is, now it's in a not normal state. Now it can be something that we're not used to. The timing could be off or something like that. So you want to make sure that when you hit play on that macro, you'll see it go blink, blink. You'll see what it's doing. You'll see the T-bar thing. The T-bar itself won't physically move, but you'll see the light next to the T-bar that, oh, transition's happening in this over here. Give it 3 or 4 seconds before you touch anything. Otherwise, if you go macro, cool, and you hit a button, you just stop the macro, and now the only way really to reset it, like if you went, macro 5 to go to pro presenter to the center, you go macro 5, play, and then you hit something. Oh, what you need to do literally is dial it to 6, run it to 6, which brings it back to its normal setting, then run 5 again to do what it's going to do. If you're coming back from, did 5, okay, now we're coming back to 6, and you actually interrupt it, you got to play back 5 again to get it to where it was, then play back 6 to get it where it needs to be for you. So just don't touch the switcher while it's running a macro because it can get kind of weird. With macros, we might try something. A church did this earlier this year. It is crazy. They actually recorded from every camera. They had like 12 cameras, but they recorded from every camera angle of this thing that was happening of their opening song. Then they got all of that footage, synced it together in an editor, and edited the practice, edited the cuts to go to this camera, go over here, stuff like that, and got all those cuts. And then they created an animation. They actually drew and created an animation that fit with every single video clip. And they saved that animation, and they wanted to play that animation live during the service back. And we're talking like it was animated shots. When it went to the drummer, they had drawn things over the cymbals, splattering when it cut to that. So they had to be able to, they wanted to play that back over the top of live video. And the only way to do that was to have the live video cut at exactly the same time from the same camera angles. So what they did is they did that. They had all the camera angles where they wanted, and they programmed a macro to cut to camera 1, wait 1 second and 14 frames, then cut to camera 6, wait 3 seconds, cut. And they were able to start the service and go and hit the macro and play the video, and the video synced over the top of all the cuts because for the entire song, nobody touched anything. The video played, which had animated lyrics and all this kind of stuff, and the switcher switched on its own in the time that was pre-programmed. So they just went and go, and everybody just sat there and didn't touch anything. And for the whole song, it went cut, 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 cut. It was all timed out. So we might try something similar to that. It's going to get really, really complicated. But again, that's what macros let us do. Macros allow us to pre-program things that would be too hard to either it's got to happen so fast that it's too hard for us to go bump, bump, go to the menu, select that menu, change that, go back to home to get it all right. We program all that in with a macro. Speaking of center screen, we have this center screen that comes down during the video venue, and you see a picture of it. There's a remote control mounted inside the video booth, both here at Northwest and Southwest. It looks exactly like this. And it's very simple. It's got an up, a down, and a stop button. Don't ever touch the stop button. There's no reason to. The up button, when you press that, it knows where it needs to end, so it's up in there. The down button, when you press that one time, you'll feel it click. You press it one time, it'll start to lower, and there's a sensor and a marker inside there. It knows how far to lower until it has to stop. And so when you hit the down button, you don't have to hold down until it gets to a certain point or press down and stop it when you just hit down, and it's going to take care of itself. When it's done, you hit up, and it's going to take care of itself. You only ever have to hit the up button or the down button. So here is a step-by-step procedure for video venue, usually after the offering song. All right? Step 1, preset Pro Presenter during the end of the offering song. They're closing out, okay, preset Pro Presenter. Step 2, okay, roll bumper video. Step 3, auto take to make the bumper video live. While the bumper video is playing, step 4, press the down button on the screen controller to lower it. Then step 5, go to select macros on the menu button. Step 6, dial in macro 5 because we're getting ready to play from Pro Presenter to the center screen. Step 7, press the play button for the macro as the bumper fades out. So you're waiting, the screen's coming down, bumper fades out. Cool. Press the play button on the macro, roll video message. And when you press the play button, it sends the, we just faded to black because there's no bumper video, that's already showing black. You hit the macro button, it now sends the program, and then program rolls the message video and it fades in. So it should look like this. Hey, let's watch the screens. Lights go down, fades to black. Bumper video, nobody's noticing that the screen's coming down because it's all black. Bumper video plays, fades to black. All 3 screens come on at the same time. That's how it's supposed to look. Same thing. These steps, it's the same steps if you're doing a streaming laptop. The only difference is that instead of presetting bumper video, instead of presetting Pro Presenter in step 1, you'll do the streaming laptop. And instead of selecting macro 6, you'll be selecting macro 7. So it runs the same way if you're streaming, just those are the same order. Preset Pro Presenter, roll bumper video, auto take bumper video, down button on the screen, select macro, dial in macro 5, waiting, bumper video is done, play macro 5, roll message video. That's going to be the order that it happens every time. At the end of the video, in a video venue, these are the steps you're going to follow to go back to our live camera shots. Sometime in the last 30 seconds, you're going to dial in macro 6, which is back to live. All in the video's playing, fades to black. As it fades out, hit the play button on the macro. It'll start running macro 6. Hit the up button on the screen controller and the screen will start going up. And then what it's going to do, back to 6, what it's going to do is everything's playing, it fades out. When you run macro 6, it's going to send black to there, preset camera 2, and bring camera 2 live on the screens and black to the center screen. So macro 6 back to live will return you to a camera 2 shot. The reason we do that is because the lights were out. Camera 2 is a wider shot, typically. The lights are out and it might be difficult for camera 1 to find who's coming up. Oh, the person, oh, there they are. They got to come up and zoom in on them and get them closer. So camera 2 is set as a wide shot. So when the lights come up, it's going to go to camera 2, which is a wider shot. And as soon as you see, okay, camera 1 has them locked in, is tracking, then you preset 1 and press, auto take to camera 1 once the operator is tracking. Because it's going to make it live on 2 with camera 1 already preset for you. The macro is going to do that. So as soon as it comes out from video venue, you'll be live on 2, camera 1 will be ready, and as soon as camera 1 has them in picture, okay, cool, auto take to camera 1. So dial in macro 6, last 30 seconds of the video. As soon as the video fades out, press the play button for the macro, hit the up button on the screen. It'll come to camera 2. Once you see that camera 1 has their shot, you press the auto take to camera 1, and then you press the home button on the menu, and that exits out of the macro menu. And it's the same step used to return if you're playing from Pro Presenter or if you're playing from the streaming laptop. Macro 6 gets you back to the camera shots either way. I know it's like a fire hose pouring water at you guys, just spraying it down. Hope you get it all again. You can reference all of this in these notes that you're going to take home with you. Shot composition, direction, and terminology. So camera direction. All right, you're going to be saying stuff like ready, ready 1. Ready 5, ready 3. You're saying ready. You're saying this is the next camera that's about to be cut into the live program. All right? Stand by. A lot of times ready and stand by. Ready, cut. Stand by, mix. Typically those go together. You'll probably hear people say ready, ready, ready all the time, or ready or stand by, but a lot of times what we want to get used to, if we're saying ready, then we're going to get ready to cut quickly to that. When we're saying stand by, it means hold that because we're going to do a slow fade. Ready 1, go to 1. And a lot of times if we're saying go, that usually means a cut. Just instantly do it. Or you'll say, hey, ready one, okay, fade to one, stand by, slow fade. Slow, stand by three, ready, slow fade. Good, okay, ready one. All right, cut to one. All right, camera movement. These are directions you're gonna be giving to the camera operators. You sometimes might have to tell them to hold. Oh, that's a great shot, hold that shot, I'm coming to you in just a minute. Or you see a camera operator doing this nice zoom into a hand. Oh, hey, reset for that, I'm gonna come to that. Camera two, reset, and let's get ready for that shot again. All right, start. Again, that's pretty clear, but it's like, hey, camera two, reset, and get ready. I'm gonna have you ready, and all right, start that movement. Ready two, and fade to two. These are all instructions you're gonna be getting. You know, pan right, pan left, tilt up, tilt down. Zoom in, zoom out, tighten up, meaning just slightly tighten the camera framing. Hey, can you tighten up your framing just a little bit? You're a little bit wide. Okay, just kind of tighten it up there. Okay, cool. Hey, you're a little bit too tight. Can you loosen it up? And that's telling the camera operator just loosen up a little. Just like, okay, kind of zoom out a little. Just instead of saying, hey, zoom out until I tell you to stop, you can just say, hey, just loosen up a little bit. All right? Push in. This is a slow zoom in effect. Pull out. Slow zoom out effect. Push right. Push left. Push center. You know, loose. Push is going to be pushing in. Loose is going to be pulling out. You know, reveal. Hey, real quick, I want you to push in. Camera two, I want you to zoom in real quick on the guitar, and I want you to do a slight pull out to reveal the guitarist's face. So that would be, okay, I'm into the guitar, ready, all right, start your movement, and ready, fade to three, you know, and they've got the movement. I'm starting on the guitar, and I'm zooming out, I'm slowly pulling out to reveal the face. All right, static shot means nothing moving. Hey, just hold that, static shot, hold, just keep that static shot right there. Again, composition, full wide. Hey, I want you to go full wide. I want you to slowly zoom out and go full wide. Don't stop until you can't go any farther. Hey, stage wide. I want a stage wide shot. That should tell them, hey, just go wide enough to where you see the stage. Head to toe, this is typically how camera two is supposed to track. Hey, give me a head to toe shot. Knees up, inseam up, meaning it's like, it's about right here. You know, waist up, elbows up. We really can't do a bust shot or a head shot because our cameras can't zoom in that far. But that would literally be head and shoulders or like literally a face. All right, one shot, two shot, three shot. You're saying, hey, we have two backup singers. Give me a two shot on the backup singers, and that tells the camera operator, I want a shot that I can see both of them, or just one of them, or three of them. Hey, frame the guitar to the left, frame it to the right, center up wherever you're at. Come to center. And then these are the last ones, check focus, check iris. You usually can control the iris yourself, but you might have to have them check to make sure the iris is functioning on theirs. Headroom, we talk about this a lot. Headroom, the space above their head. If there's too much, hey, there's too much headroom. So if there's too much headroom, what do they got to do? If there's too much headroom in the frame, they have to tilt down. Hey, we're cutting them off. There's not enough headroom. They need to tilt up a little bit and give more headroom. Lead room. Lead room means we have them centered on the screen, but if they start walking left, we need to give them more lead room the direction they're going. We don't want to be tracking, if they're walking that way, we don't want to be tracking them at the edge of the frame. We want the camera operator to push forward so that there's lead room ahead of them. They stop, center up. All right, they start going right, lead right. Or left in your set, from your view. Rack focus. This can happen sometimes when you're on a side shot and you're focused. Hey, we're going to rack focus from the guitar player. Because sometimes, like during Christmas and Easter, we'll use those. We'll add cameras down here to other. So you'll have a camera operator down here that can shoot across. Northwest and Southwest, we have stage cameras that shoot across, and sometimes we man those. In fact, this past weekend, we had somebody man one of those because the kids were coming up to the front. We don't have PTZ cameras. You guys are able to see the kids because you have the PTZ cameras up here and aim down and see the kids in the front row. We don't have that at Northwest. We didn't have that there. So we asked an extra camera person to come and take camera 3 and be able to walk up on the side of the stage and zoom in on the kids and stuff like that. Had comms on and could hear what was going on. And then they could rack focus from one kid to the next, right? Snap zoom is going to be, that's a very fast, okay, give me a snap zoom to, okay, start on the guitar and then give me a snap zoom wide. And go. And so you're on the guitar, and you don't usually use those all that much, but sometimes we can. Preview, program out. Again, preview which was camera's next, program out camera that is live. Camera shading. This goes into a lot of detail here. You can read it all later if you want, but basically camera shading is being able to control the brightness and color of the camera. Here at Northwest, we have more traditional ENG cameras where we actually have camera shaders like this built into the rack unit there with actual knobs. We can open up and close the iris. We can make the black balance. We can make darks darker. We can make them lighter. There's literal knobs that we can to control the colors and stuff like that. Here on the next page, you'll see on the bottom, here at Southwest, these two cameras, 1 and 2, we can't control 3 and 4, the PTZ cameras that way, but cameras 1 and 2, the switcher actually controls, and you can see on here, this is your iris, like this one right here. You see this part right here? Take a look at my finger. Miguel sees it. Where the red dot is, that can move left and right and up and down. Up and down is opening and closing the iris. Left and right is making the blacks really black or making the blacks lighter. So you can control the same thing that's done at Northwest with 2 different knobs can be controlled with a mouse click on there. And then you can literally come into the color here and literally move that thing over and change. I need it a little more pink, I need it a little more blue, whatever. We try not to do that because they're white balanced already. In fact, you'll see that on here. They're white balanced for 3200 kelvins, 3200 K. And we need to make sure sometimes when these cameras get turned off, they can reset back to their default, which is 5600 K. You can literally on that screen right there, it'll say the Kelvin temperature and you can dial it in. It should be 3200 Kelvin. Normally, again, don't have to mess with any of this. Most of the time, you need shading control. Some churches have big old glass windows and the sunlight changes and it's really sunny and everything's bright in here, then it's really dark and they have to, there are some churches that have venues or they're outdoor venues to where there's a separate person that all they do is shade cameras. Okay, preset camera 2, he looks at camera 2, how's it look? Okay, during the iris down, okay, let me look at camera 4, okay, camera, that's their whole job is making sure that the camera is shading properly because the lighting changes, the lighting conditions are constantly changing. We don't have that problem in any of our campuses, it's very controlled lighting, so we usually don't have to mess with that too much, but you need to know that it can be changed from your station. And it changes all those things. Gain, black level, iris, all of that is controlled through the camera shade. Gain is how sensitive the sensor is. The problem is if you up the gain, the image gets brighter, but it also gets noisier. You start to see little things moving on the screen. It's a lot of the signal noise is starting to show up because you're gaining it too high. So we usually try not to gain unless we really, really, really have to. Okay, recording and streaming. We record to multiple formats. We record and we stream to the internet from the video booth. You control all of that. We record on the hard drive. This is very important. I don't know if it says it on there, but it's very, very important. We record as soon as the countdown is on screen. As soon as the countdown, we hit record on the hard drive. Now, when we go in there, we're going to look at some stuff because there's the hard drive recorder, there's the duplicator, and then there's the SD card recorder, and they're all for different reasons. The hard drive recorder is our archive that records all the time. On a day like that's coming up on October 7th with our guest speaker who's going to be traveling, we're going to be recording on the duplicator because it records a compressed file to an SD card that we literally, as soon as service is over, we're going to hit stop on that, and somebody from, because I forgot about that, somebody from the Terrace campus is going to be waiting here because Terrace campus only has a 10:30 service and they don't have a laptop to stream from. But they don't need to because they can just get a recording. They're only 10 minutes away. So there'll be somebody at the end of our service from Terrace campus away. As soon as you hit stop, you pull out, they get an SD card, they jump in their car outside this door, and they drive to Terrace campus, put the SD card in their laptop, and get it queued up, ready to play for their 10:30 service. So we use those SD card recorders for that reason because they make a fairly small file that's easily transferable. Even it's small enough, it ends up being about a 2 gig file, that it's small enough if we had to, we could pull it out, put it in a computer, and get on the network and send it over the internet to Delano or even send it over the internet to Terrace if we had to. It's small enough to only take maybe 10 or 15 minutes to transfer over the internet. So that's why we have those additional recorders that we don't hardly ever use. Maybe 4 or 5 times a year we're using them for that purpose. And then of course streaming, you don't have to worry about streaming anymore. There used to be a box in there that you as the TD would have to make sure it starts to stream. It's all automated now. There's still a box in there. It's all controlled through the internet. It's all queued up and ready to go. You just always make sure that box is lit up white. It's lit up that it's on. There's a little green light that it's on, and it's working, it's running. You don't have to worry about it. All right, positions and expectations. Just so you know who the positions are, producer is the person who's overseeing the whole service. They're usually, we try to keep them at front of house so they can see what's going on. They're on comms. You're going to hear them. What they should be doing is that they should be saying, hey, okay, we're getting ready to start the countdown here. Is everybody in position? Everybody, camera operators, you're in your place? Okay, cool. All right, stand by for countdown. And 27, 3 minutes before service, boom, countdown starts. They're good. Hey, it's the haze on. Let's make sure we get the haze going. The last minute, okay. 30 seconds left, everybody ready? And then they're up there, then they're watching everything. The director is saying, camera 1, camera 2. Here, camera 3, stand by for this, ready 1, ready 2, all this kind of stuff. The TD is the person who is physically on the switcher going preset 1, preset 2. In an ideal world, that would be 2 different people. In an ideal world, there would be a director watching the cameras, saying, okay, preset 1, ready 1, go, okay, take 1, stand by 3, get that camera shot over here, restart that movement, ready 3, slow fade to 3, and they're watching the screen, they're doing the cameras, and the TD is just sitting there, boom, boom, ready 3 goes on preview, slow fade to 3, T-bar, ready 4, cut, hits the cut button. That's our, unfortunately, we don't always have enough personnel to do that. So a new expectation that we are having for our technical directors, the TDs who actually sit there, is that you're going to have to learn to be the director and the TD. It's a double duty. What's really rough is if we're really short and the producer has to do that. Now you've got the producer who's supposed to be watching all the stuff happen and is supposed to be making corrections, having to now get into the weeds and pick camera shots and then physically do it. So it's tough. Ultimately, during larger events, we like to have a separate director, a separate TD. We're just not always capable of doing that, and we have not completely trained you guys as TDs to do that, and that's what today is about, and letting you guys know this is now going to be the new normal. Until we are able to build teams that have separate directors and TDs, you're going to have to now step up in your role as a TD to accomplish both jobs. And I'm going to show you some videos. We're going to take a small break in just a minute here. I'm going to show you some videos and some things we want to go over. But the director and the technical director, we're combining those jobs for our campuses right now. Then there's a service coordinator who sits on the front row. They basically act as the liaison for the pastor who will be up here and everything that's happening on the front and stage, and they'll be communicating to the producer either by text or by comms. But as a TD, you usually won't get very much interaction from them personally. Then, of course, camera 1 is back over there. Camera 2, the PTZ cameras here. This is where it's another role that a lot of times the director would be controlling the PTZ cameras, or we'd have a separate PTZ operator. In a perfect world, we have the TD sitting at the switcher, PTZ camera operator sitting there, and a director sitting behind both of them calling it out. That's in a perfect world. In a semi-perfect world, the director will be controlling the PTZ cameras and giving commands while the TD person is controlling just that. The TD is always in charge of the recordings though. It's your responsibility as a TD. You are the person who's starting and stopping the recordings. That's always your duty. All right. Mobile cams, sometimes we'll have mobile cams. We do have a jib that's normally at the northwest because it just doesn't fit in here. It blocks the screens or it blocks the stage. And so we usually don't have the jib in here, but we can use that if we need to. All right. It's important to understand the high level of expectation that comes with being a director and a technical director. And as a TD, you have a great responsibility to affect the attention of the service at any time. Your fingers, if not sure and steady, can accidentally put up the wrong element at the wrong time. And there's nothing more jarring in service than for the screens to show the wrong thing and then jump to the right thing suddenly. As director, your choices and timing will affect not only the congregation, but also the crew. How you say directions and make corrections can encourage or discourage those serving with you. It's important that you all feel the gravity of your responsibility and take the care needed to learn the terminology and stay focused while the service is running. It goes without saying that you must avoid contact with your personal phone for texting, etc. while on duty. They have to be away from you. In your pocket, we don't interact with our phones in these positions in here at all. Sometimes the speaker can go quickly from, let's see, it goes without saying you must avoid contact with your phone. Yep, avoid other distractions. We have discovered that having a common goal and utilizing a statement of vision that everybody knows helps to keep everyone focused, and so we'd like you to try to commit to memory these statements that should inspire your commitment to excellence. As a director, who's the director? I am the chef. The director is the chef. I am the chef who gathers all the ingredients made by the team and cooks them into a gourmet meal that is worthy to be presented. The camera operators are doing their part. The ProPresenter person is doing their part. As the director, you're the chef. You're mixing in. How much salt you're going to put into this meal? That's up to you. It can be bland and just go, okay, camera one. All right, okay, go to 2. It can be bland, or you can make it sizzle. Part of our core beliefs here, we have 10 of them, and one of them is excellence is our spirit. Excellence is our spirit. Well, as a TD, what are you? Who are you? I am the waiter who carefully carries all the hard work of those around me out to the hungry congregation who are waiting to be fed God's message. The truck driver got there early in the morning and brought the ingredients fresh, right? The sous chef did all the mise en place, cut all the onions to the right size, put all that. The chef grabbed the right amount of onions, the right amount of spices, cooked the meat till it's just perfect, put it on the plate, and you as the waiter walk out not paying attention, trip, and it all lands on the floor. You're the waiter who's now taking this, everything that everybody has poured in, what they're doing on stage, what the camera operator, what everybody's doing, you as the TD, you have the responsibility of don't trip. You're bringing that plate of food out to the customer who's hungry for it. And who's our customer? Our customer is not just the 1,000 people sitting in here. Our customer is also the 1,500 people watching online. Now we actually have on a Sunday up to 1,500 to 1,800 people watching our stream online. That's a mega church of people who are only seeing what goes through your fingers. So it's very important that you really take this to heart. It's very important that you take your job seriously, that you really get into it, that you really focus on it, and you say, excellence is my spirit. I'm going to show you some videos, a couple examples from some other churches, some behind the scenes from some other churches, and you're going to see an example of a room where somewhere outside that room there is a producer and you'll hear their commands coming in. There is a director who's sitting in front of the TD, and there is a TD on the switcher. And you're going to hear the dance that happens. You're going to hear and see what's going on for one whole complete song and what they're doing. And the commands that are going out. But what I want you to see how active the director is. Even as the TD, if you're having to direct in TD, you might have to do this. It was eye-opening for me a couple years ago when we were really short on people at Northwest. I actually had to move the switcher controller because it's ran over our internal network. I actually had to move the switcher controller to front of house at Northwest and run lights and switcher myself while one of my sons was on the computer in the video booth and my other son was on camera, and it was just the 3 of us for the whole service. But it opened my eyes to something in that I was standing up at front of house and I had the switcher, and I felt like I was part of the band. I felt like I was part of the song. And suddenly, because I had a screen there, and we have a multi-view screen, just like we have over here at front of house for the producer to see all the camera shots. Northwest is the same thing. So we could actually move the switcher out over here, because there's a network connection over here. We've got to get it powered up and move it over here, and our TD could actually TD from over here. The only thing you would not be able to do is the screen. Because even record, that's one of the macros. I think it's macro 1 or whatever, is actually a macro because the switcher can control the recorders. And from the switch, you can actually hit play macro 1 and it'll start the recorders. We don't usually do that because it's just right there. But I did that so that if I had to do it from up here, I could. So, and plus if there's multiple recorders, it'll start multiple recorders at the same time. But I want you to see this one here. You're going to see the director and watch him. Now the director's standing up. I would almost encourage you guys, I know that the switcher is kind of low, but I would almost encourage you guys during worship, it's too easy to, okay, camera 1, camera 2, and it's too easy to kind of lull yourself into, oh, it's not doing much. I would like for you guys to try standing up during worship. Stand up, feel the music. Turn it up if you have to. feel the music and start saying, hey, camera 2, get ready for that shot. Come, I want you to watch. We'll be able to see it on here, but I want you to watch. This is also another church called New Life Church. I don't know if it's the New Life Church. It's in Arkansas that we follow. I found this on YouTube. But I want you to watch and listen. Every once in a while, you'll hear a disembodied voice from somewhere, and it's the producer saying, you'll hear them say, okay, standby break's coming up. What the producer knows is that, hey, there's a guitar solo coming up. Oh, hey, we're 10 seconds out from this next song. Hey, they're coming near the end. You'll hear every once in a while, break coming up, nearing the end of the song, ready for a guitar solo. Like, that's the producer who the director is looking at all the shots. This is a pre-shot, this is a pre-shot, and the producer's saying, hey, don't forget there's a break coming up. So the director's like, okay, break coming up. We're getting ready to go to a wide shot over here to the drums or something like that. But I want you guys to watch the dance that happens.
Plasma on ME2.
CD2. Would you start the DVD?
So you see the TD,
Yes.
and you see the director. And somewhere is the producer. I don't know if it's the person in the back or not, but it might be. But the person in the back is also, I think, running scriptures and lyrics.
Thank you. Go into your black.
Name right away, or you want me to wait?
Yeah, we'll go through black. Yeah, Don, you were peeking there too.
I am.
There, pretty black. Go black.
Lights.
White.
So you made a mistake. You almost went straight to a camera.
Ready, one. Go one. Turn up the volume a little bit.
So he wants to hear the song. He wants to feel it.
Okay, 4, let's do that move again.
4 just did a nice move that he liked. He wants him to do it again.
4. Dissolve 4. Ready 3 on a push. Dissolve 3. Grab 1.
See him. He's active. The director is feeling the music.
1 starting on his hands.
You'll see him a little later actually keeping beat and be like, and
Dissolve 1.
but he's active. He's interactive with the music.
Dissolve 4. Forward into focus 4. Nice, for the drums are focused. Ready 3 on a push. Dissolve 3.
Break coming.
Ready 4. Dissolve 4. 3 get guitars. Tight, tight. Ready 3. Dissolve 3. Go in full.
Under.
Ready 1 on a push. Dissolve 1.
See him. He's keeping the beat. He's feeling the
4
music.
tight on the snare.
He's one with the band. That's what you need to be as a TD, as a director combo now.
Full and dissolve 4.
You got to be active. I mean, how much time is going between him talking?
We'll come up to his face.
Not a lot. He's giving direction.
Dissolve 1. 3 get me Susanna.
You notice that camera 3 did not hear him.
4.
So he's got to repeat it at another point.
Dissolve 4. 3 push it to Susanna. And dissolve 3. Ready 1 on a push. Into his face. Dissolve 1. Ready 4. I like that 4. Dissolve 4. 3 get me.
See, he did it on the beat. He called for it. He's got it in his head. He's part of the worship team.
Dissolve 1. 3 get me guitar. Give me Nate on the bass. Tight. Ready 3. Dissolve 3.
So this is the level of communication that you guys need to take it up to. This is the level of communication that has to happen as the director TD. That even if it means I want you guys to stand up during worship. And you got to be on there. Okay, cool, preset, boom. Okay, cool. Hey, yeah, camera 2. And we're going to talk to the camera operators and say, hey, you know, we want more action. We want to take some initiative. The problem that's going to happen is that you're going to have to do some of that at camera 3 as well. 3 and 4 with the PTZ. Now watch this one. This is a different church, slightly smaller church, and you'll notice I think the person just set up his phone next to him to record it. What this is a person who is a TD and a director. You know how I know? Because you'll see him make the cuts before he says them. You'll see him, okay, ready 3, and it'll go, Okay, 3. Like you can see that he's doing it, but he's still saying it for them. So this is more closely to what you guys are going to have to do. But I want you to see that it's still happening very similar. Let me jump. This is like a minute 45 here. I forgot about that.
30 seconds.
So he's still giving out commands. He's still
I'll try to remember, yes, sir.
still talking to the camera operators. But you'll see he's by himself.
15 seconds. 5, ready to push. Up on 1 and push. Ready, 2.
See how it's happening after?
Ready, 3. Ready, key, drums. Ready, keys. Ready, 1 and 1.
So it's a little slower pace. He's having to do it all.
3, you can hold it. Ready, 2.
But he's still giving commands.
Let's push, that's good. Ready, 1, 2 is clear. Ready, 3. And 3. Ready, 1, 1. On 1. That's good, you're 3 right there. Ready, 3. And 3. Ready, 2, ready, 1. 1.
So you can see on this one, it's not as quick of a pace because he doesn't have the director who's only looking at the shots on the TV. This is the person who's having to do everything by himself. This is probably closer to what you guys will end up having to do. But I wanted you to see the goal. I wanted you to see what we're aiming at. This last video I'm going to show you right now is of Elevation Worship. Elevation Church is a church. Is it Texas? Can't remember. It's Stephen Furtick's church. It's a really big church. We're modeling a lot of what we do technically and promotional wise. We're modeling a lot of what on what this church does, but it's very similar to a church like Church on the Move, Life Church, North Point Church. They're all on this kind of scale of, like, Elevation has, I don't know, like 17 or 18 campuses or something like that, 20 something campuses. Life Church has, like, I think over 100 campuses across the country. So we're trying to model what we do off of what they do. But this is what I want you to see on this worship set. I want you to see and feel the pace. You're going to see them doing transitions. And then as the song picks up, you're going to see them, okay, now we're doing cuts because the song is faster. Now we're doing cuts. And you're going to notice the cameras never stop moving. I'm going to want our camera operators to see this as well. The cameras never stop moving. Now, obviously, the opening shot, and several times you're going to see it, is a shot from a sweeping jib going across. We don't have that. You know, sometimes there'll be a shot of a camera on a dolly or something like that, and there's going to be probably several handheld shots. Don't concentrate so much on the shots that you see. I want you to concentrate on the pacing and the transitions for this. So this is like an opening song, but everything's kind of slow right now, so they're doing fades. You got your lead singer, you got two of them actually. This is typically, you would see us getting these shots. It's a little closer than what we can get because they've got much more expensive lenses. Again, it's not just a static camera 2 shot. Camera 2 is slowly pushing in. That's maybe a 1.5-second fade. It's probably the longest fade you'll see the whole time. They don't do these really slow fades. Camera's always moving. transitioning with the song. Slow part of the song. Slow transitions. Lots of space between the movements. Now they're cutting. You feel the pace. They're not transitioning anymore. Now they're doing cuts because the song is picking up. He's giving signals to the band. So it's slowed down, so now they're going back to fades. Now back to cuts because it's picking up. So now the editing is now quicker. Okay, camera 2, camera 1. They're doing more cuts. They're moving and adjusting and changing with the feel of the song. And now it's slowed it back down. I want you guys to see that this is the direction we want to go with our switching, with the pace of stuff. You are part of the worship team. I want you guys to feel the weight of that as a TD, you're part of the worship team. You are there, you're feeling the music. Okay, now we're going slow. Okay, nice slow fade. Okay, it's not just, okay, preset this and okay, do it slow, whatever. You're part of the music. Oh, now they're picking up, and cut to 1. Okay, stand by 3, get that shot. Okay, cool, 3, 2, do that zoom again. Start right there. Okay, start pulling out, and go. 2, and it's slowing down. Ready, 1, fade to 1. Cool, song is out, DSK out. Ready, 2, fade to 2. They're starting a new song. You're part of it. You're in it. Your energy in that position is going to translate to these screens. It's going to translate online. It's going to translate to the people in the room, and they're going to feel it. It's very, very important that you guys realize this is now the expectation. I'm raising the bar, raising the level. This is that how we used to, and if you've never done it before, you won't know, but how we used to of just kind of sitting there, that's no longer good enough. It's no longer good enough. You got to be active. You got to be the person who's setting the pace, being artistic, and we're going to talk the same thing with our camera operators to watch some of these video clips. So the camera operator's like, let's get in there, let's get some movement, let's do some stuff. I mean, again, camera 1, we really kind of need camera 1 to always be that tight shot, but to be, hey, every once in a while we can do the tight shot, but I know there's a guitar solo coming, so I'm going to pan down to Jim's guitar or something like that. All right, last little expectation as we're talking about expectations and excellence. We want a spirit of excellence. That means that starts from the moment you get here. And what I mean by that starts when, if you're supposed to be here at a certain time, you're there at a certain time. That's the expectation. We're going to start. We need to know that you're taking this as seriously as we need this position to be taken. We're going to start expecting this of all of our people, to be here at the right times, to be here to do these things, because it's if you're not taking the care enough to be here at the time that you need to be here, then it could be an indication that you're not going to be caring enough for all the other details. It's like the first indicator. When are you getting here is going to be an indicator to us on how excellent you're expecting yourself to perform. All right, so we're gonna be setting up some expectations. If you're consistently showing up not on time, we might ask you to step down. We might ask you to take a break until you want to, until you can commit to that. to being at the right time and being here, being in position, being on station, and being prepared. You know, it'd be good. All of this, you guys have access to Planning Center? You guys all have the Planning Center app on your phones, or you have access to Planning Center? I believe you will receive, do you get the emails that say Planning Center, you're scheduled for this time? Okay, we'll talk to Derek, make sure you guys are getting those. If you are getting those, it means you're into the Planning Center. One of the first things that happened is that you were given an invite. Hey, become part of Planning Center. You received an email, and what happened is that, I don't know if you had a chance to do it or not, but by replying to that email, you can go into Planning Center. The link will take you to create a password, a username and a password. From then on, you can log into Planning Center and see all this stuff. I can go to Planning Center right here, and I can see this week on my phone. Here's the 19th. This is at Northwest Campus. I'm going to be at Southwest, but I can just see right here. There's Unstoppable God. I can click on Unstoppable God. That's the opening song, and I can actually listen to that song. It'll load it up in a player, and I can start listening to the song. Sorry. That's her background information. Where's the original song? Yeah, I played the wrong one. So, playlist. Oh, there we go. What's that? Yeah, you can get to know the song. And there we go. I hit the wrong one. There's the original recording. You want to listen to one that says original recording. So now there goes the original recording, and now I can. Oh, this is the song that we're doing. This is Unstoppable God. To listen ahead of time. These are up in the week. The playlists for the next 2 weeks are already on there. So you can go as far as a week ahead of time. Oh, I'm on TD next Sunday. You can go and on there and say and get familiar with the song. Okay, so we're opening up. It's pretty big. Okay, so I'm going to be doing cuts on this one. Maybe starting with the drummer. I'll have that in my head. I want you guys to be coming prepared. Coming having listened to the songs. At least familiar with them, so you know, hey, okay, that's the pace it's going to be. I want you standing up during worship. I know it's kind of tough because the switcher is low. Standing up, be in the energy, feel the energy. Until you get to the point where, yeah, I can still have the energy and be sitting down at the same time, but I want you guys to feel like you're part of the band. I want you to feel like you're part of the worship team, and you're experiencing, you're there, and it's going to give you that energy. Turn the music up a little bit if you need to hear it, feel it right there in front of you. I want you guys to feel that. We're going to take a little break real quick. I'm going to move the camera into the video booth, and we're going to get some hands-on real quick in the video booth with the equipment, but it's a good chance for you guys to take a bathroom break real quick. Well, about 5 minutes we'll be in the video booth. All right. So let's gather around, but let's not block the camera. You guys can in fact, let's go ahead and sit down. There. Let's roll that one over there real quick. There we go. So one of you can be there. You can be here. All right. Oh, go get your papers. Go get your papers.
So
Couple.
I'm fairly, I just push buttons between the last service.
Yeah.
Of one. But I was doing where you felt I was trying to follow him and we would go do a big point wide shot or
Yeah.
he was talking about something, put his hands together, a close up on his face. Try to emulate TV,
Yes.
it was the only experience I have prior to this is the video production in junior high.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was fun too.
Yeah,
it was
no.
similar. It was we'd go out, big stuff, but it was way more tapes.
Yeah.
And a lot
So
more.
a couple of things that we didn't have a chance to talk about. This is the comm unit, all right? So there's two channels, A and B, but we have them, party line A and B, we have that turned on, so they're linked together. So it's just one channel. But it's all linked to A. So if you want to talk, you have to push the talk button. Now normally, these would be lit up yellow when the power is on, and when you push to talk, it'll be blue, or maybe it's the other way around. Either way, the one that you're talking will light up. The lights in here have gone out. They were out, this unit has been here before I got here. So you don't know if it's on, but if you tap it, you don't hear anything through that speaker. If you turn it on, now you hear it through that speaker, so now you know it's on. So that's something that the producer should be doing when they turn everything on, is making sure, because when we power everything down, that loses power. So when we turn everything back on, we got to make sure that gets active. So that's how you're talking This speaker is what we're hearing from the house. So if I play this video, we hear it in here through this speaker. That's how we hear what's happening out in the house.
Okay.
That audio feed is coming, it goes through this, gets processed, goes into the video switcher, gets embedded on all of the all the signals. You can see that on the video switcher the audio is there, and then it comes out from here into this speaker. So what you're hearing here is literally what's coming off of the switcher that's going to everything. So you know, if you're not hearing anything, if you're not hearing it here, you've got this turned up, if you don't see any meters going on right there on the screen, you're not getting any sound to the recordings or to the video stream or to the online stream. So you got to make sure that that's working correctly. Again, we don't have to worry too much about the computer. The computer person is going to take care of all this. But the comms, you'll need to talk into this and give them instruction. If you want to get a headset, we can get it. You can get one of the headsets from the camera, plug it into here, and instead of the panel mic, switch that to headset, and now you can talk on the headset and not have to lean into here. The problem is the cable is only so long, which should give you enough room to operate this and see everything, and usually you should be able to stand up. In fact, let me just do...
Basically, you can't wander away from this.
You can't wander too far away. Let me grab the headset. There's one over here. This is a brand new one here that's actually for the cameras 1 and 2. But you can see
Like these guys in the video.
yeah. So like everybody else, you'll be able to have a headset if you want it. And it's fairly long. I mean, it's good enough to... You can stand up for that. I prefer a headset. Some people don't like it because, oh, it makes my ears sweaty and all that kind of stuff. I prefer a headset. So I would plug this in here and go to headset mic. So now that's not on, but this is.
So...
And now I can be on comms and be talking to everybody and give them all the instructions and everything. It's all right here on the comms, and you can hear me coming out through the speaker. What's cool about these headsets...
Speaker won't be on at all?
No, this will be on, so that'll be worship will be coming through there. Yeah. It's cool about these headsets.
That's good because it kind of clears up. Sometimes that gets so loud people talk over that.
Exactly. So now you can do this.
That's like the only thing. I was like, it's like because it's like.
Yeah.
Like you can hear, but it's always like what.
I always prefer the headset. I'm going to leave this headset in here. These headsets are great because there's a mute built in. If it's swung up, it's mute. When it swings down, I'm talking. You can hear me. As soon as I swing it up, it's muted and you don't hear what's going on.
But you can still hear.
I can still hear. It's just the microphone gets turned on when I swing it down, and I can mute it by swinging it up.
That's way better than
Yeah.
this little.
Then having to talk and talk. So it's
Yeah.
always on, and then the mic itself.
Yeah,
So
it's better.
yeah, I prefer the headset. Some people, you know, that's a preference thing. That's why the gooseneck mic is here and stuff like that. But like I said, I prefer the headset, and I'm going to leave this here for you guys to have that going forward.
I was gonna ask, was like, because you said we asked, was like,
Yeah.
come here.
The other thing to pay attention to, if we are this audio mixer is all it's for is for the computers in here. The sound from this computer actually outputs to this unit here, and video and audio come out of this unit. Video goes to the switcher, audio goes down to this switcher. It goes out of here. This headset goes into here, and now audio from this laptop is going to here, which is always down. The only time we ever turn this up is if we are receiving a stream from another campus and we're playing back that stream. Excuse me, we're playing back that stream. So when it comes to do the stream, we got to bring this audio up and bring this one down, so the audio will come from this computer when we're playing live on the stream. So this will end up pulling up see, so that all the way up. Yeah, so I'm going to jump to a part of the service. So this is so right now this is playing live to stream, which is that one. So I can T-bar that in, and we're actually now on the screens watching live from the internet. A recording from the internet.
That one's always black.
Yeah, so it's not usually on because this laptop is usually not open.
Yeah.
When this laptop is open, that input now receives, input number 7 now receives from this laptop. But if I turn this down, no audio. So we got to bring it back up to where that, to that 0 is right
Let's say
there.
they're both like at up. How does that affect you?
What's that?
Like you said, that one would flip it basically. Normal service and flip it unless you're straight.
Normal service is this. So if we're playing this video here, preset here. So now we're watching video play from here. What would be weird is if we turn that volume down, and now we're hearing audio from this, but watching video from that. So you got to make sure you've got the correct one on. So if we're
So
playing,
you're gonna get overlay, whatever.
yeah. So if we're playing video service, video venue from this computer, we would leave that as normal, which is what we normally do. This campus hardly ever receives a stream. Usually we're sending, but we have the ability to receive it if we need to. And there has been once or twice where pastor has decided to start at Northwest and stream to here. So again, it says Pro P is that one, stream is this one. So now we go. So yeah, so we got that coming in here. And we can always pause the stream. It's paused. What we would actually do is that we would pause it, we would be watching them, and we'd get all the way to the bumper video.
Good morning, everybody.
So we back it up just a little bit, just before just as the bumper video is playing. So we'd have this down. We'd be doing worship as normal, right? We're getting ready to receive their stream. Now this is coming in from Northwest. Coming in live. We can actually pause the live stream coming in from Northwest. So the bumper video would play, and this is what we would do. You ready? We're gonna practice this. This is gonna be fun. So the bumper video is playing. And that's about the end of the bumper video, so I'm going to pause it right there. So now the stream is building up, it's paused, our worship set is coming near the end. All right, so we're going to get ready. Go back to that step. Go back to your page. Ready? Go back to the middle page. Right, pro presenter during end of song. We're going to do it. We're going to do it to the live stream, which is paused. Right. So worship is going. Worship gets near the end. All right, so what do? I preset, we're on camera 1, or on camera 2, whatever it is during worship. First thing I do, preset pro presenter. I'm going to preset pro presenter. Ready? Worship is done. They're running the bumper video. So we play the bumper, which is here. Bumper video, auto take. Bumper video is running. I lower the screen. You'll notice that the screen, that's already down. All right? I turn on the macro. Get ready for macro 5. Actually, I'm going to do macro 7 because I'm going to the stream computer. I'm going to get ready to play the stream. I'm going to get ready to hit play here. So it's coming near the end. And playing this.
Good morning, everybody.
And now I'm
How are
receiving the
you?
stream. You see the stream is on the center
Great
screen.
to see you.
And
Good
we're
to be
watching
back
live.
After a summer break, a sabbatical, and back in the saddle again.
All right,
as
I'm
they
going to
say.
get macro
And,
6
it's a
ready,
season
which
of
is
new
back to
beginnings, right?
live.
Kids going back to school.
I'm going to jump
Parents
this
happy?
to the
No?
end
Okay.
of the message.
What about? Yeah. Well, what about NFL football? I accept. Your
Ready?
Free gift
He's getting near the end of service.
Eternal life.
Ready?
In heaven.
Preset macro 6. Get ready to play it. See the playback over there. Have I
So
ready?
I open my life to you now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Hey, can we celebrate with the angels of heaven?
And
Come on.
play. Screen up. You
Oh,
notice that
that's
now it
incredible.
cuts us to camera 2. We'd be live on there. Camera 1 is my preset. Camera 1, okay, we got him. Okay, cool. Auto take, and now we're on camera 1.
Walking out these back doors, there's some next step down.
So it automatically switch.
Take one of those with you as you go.
This one is the
We
one
have some
that says
amazing
macro.
prayer teachers.
Yeah, so
And
you
they
have,
been praying
this is
for
normally
you
what it looks like. You
all
go to
week long.
macro,
They're going to come up here
and then you
now.
can dial in your
If
macro,
anything
whichever
more
one you
would
want.
love to pray about.
Use
They
five.
would love
Yep.
to pray with you.
Yeah.
take advantage of that.
So
today.
again, I'm gonna
Would you
jump
just
back.
stand? Can I just speak a blessing over all of us as we go?
I'm going to jump back to...
I bless you in the name of.
I'm going to jump back to right before the service starts. Right before the message starts. Okay, so it's paused right there. And again, we're on worship. We're on camera 2. We're doing worship. Here we go. Okay, we're on preset macro 7, which is stream to center. Worship, fading out. All right. Well, hey, watch the screens. Preset this. Roll bumper video. Rolling bumper video. Auto take. Oh, gotta have that sound up right now. Bumper video is going. Lowering the screen. So it takes about that much time for the screen to go down. Getting ready to play this.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Great to see you. Good to be back.
Smooth
home
transition
after
into the
a
center
summer
screen.
break, a sabbatical, and back in the saddle again, as they say.
And again, we
And,
jump to
it's
the
a
end.
season of new beginnings, right? Kids going back to school. Parents, in Jesus'
Oh,
name we pray.
give us a little bit more.
Accept
Cool.
Your free
Preset
gift
6.
of eternal life in heaven. I want a relationship with you. So I open my life to you now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Hey, can we celebrate with the angels of heaven? Come on.
Boom, and audio comes down. And now we're live on ours. Preset 1 is already preset. In camera 1, you're good. Okay, cut to 1. Boom. Making sense? A lot of steps, yeah. But that's why it's all lined out right here. What you would do to go, you said you were following, were you following with me looking at this as I was doing each of those steps?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what each of those steps are doing.
Now these make sense.
Yep. Again, record button for this is the hard drive. That's the record button. If there was a hard drive in there, it would record. This is the duplicator. We would put the SD cards in here. If we had to clear them, see how it's yellow? You can't record on there. So we got to go to record. We got to move this over to format cards. We want to format it. Are you sure you want to format the card? Yep, formatting. So now it's formatting that card, getting rid of whatever was on it before. And boom, now it's green, ready to go.
The Terra service comes
And
over.
then turn menu off. Yep. And now that how up to 25 cards. If we had a bunch of them in there, it would format all of them. When I hit record, when you hit record, boom, it's recorded all of them at the same time. So Delano can get one, Terrace can get one, Spanish campus will need one. As soon as we finish at 9 o'clock, Spanish campus will take one, take it over to Spanish campus. They'll put on their computer, play it, and they got a guy who has headphones on, listening to the computer play, and is translating real time in Spanish while Pastor James is on the screen. In real time. That's crazy. Then this is also a SD card reader that records in the same format as this. So it's larger files, higher resolution, larger files, but these are the files we want to give for people to take real quick. You should never have to mess with a whole lot else. As we get deeper into it, you can find out what the router does. Literally, this is every in and out. Before it goes to the switcher, every input comes into here, then goes to the switcher, and then every output from the switcher goes into here first and then out to wherever it is. So I can reroute anything I want anywhere. I can reroute camera 1 to be on camera 3 here if I wanted to. I can change wherever I wanted it to be. That gives us the control to not have to crawl underneath or physically unplug cables. I can just route it wherever I want. I could say, okay, ready, destination 2 right now is receiving from ATEM 2. I want it to receive from ATEM 5, drum cam, take. Oh, it's not getting it, okay. 2, destination 2, I want it to receive from actual 2, take. And now we get it back. But I can send, you know, destination 2, I want it to receive source 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Boom. So now camera 3 is being fed to both 2 and 3. It's the same. Instead of crawling under there if I want to. So source 2, I actually want, destination 2, I want to be source 2. Boom. So camera 2 is now going there. So you can route whatever you want anywhere. We don't really want to be messing with that all that much because it's all deep, but that gives us the control to send whatever we need, wherever we need it to go. So I can send any feed if I wanted to record. What are my destinations? Stage display, see, is going to the front TV, so we're sending that up there. aux3 is SDI distribution. South projector, I can send something different to the south projector and something different to the north projector if I wanted to. So again, all that's on there is for the control that we have. So I'm going to leave the comms. I'm going to leave the headset here for the comms. I'm going to close out of this. Come out of. So normally you would see the laptop screen on there if the laptop were open. It doesn't have to be open unless we're streaming to here. So there's that. Here's this audio. Oh, last little thing. This is what I was talking about with the cameras. If I have iris control, you can see camera 1. Oh, the iris is working. I'm darkening it. And then if I go left and right, see how the blacks are suddenly not very black, or the blacks are really black. So I can crush the blacks or I can expand them. Usually we want it right in the middle and the iris all the way open. If I'm on, see this right here, 3200 Kelvin? If I go the wrong direction, you'll notice that the color starts changing. If I get up to here, if it's at 5600, everything looks kind of orangish compared to everything else. I need to have it back at 3200. It should be set there for default, but you can control that. I control the color if I don't want to do it right now because it could really mess things up. But you can swing the color. You can do color correction here on both the lift, the gamma, and the gain. Basically, it's the darks, the mids, and the lights. So if I wanted the lights to be more blue and the darks to be more orange, I could do that. We actually did this one time by removing all of the color. We took all the saturation out on cameras 1 and 2 for a special event, and the screens were black and white. And then we were able to bring the color back into the cameras when we wanted to. So it's actually kind of a cool effect. So it's something that we can program into there if we wanted to, possibly even make that a macro to just, yeah, to do all that. Again, macro 1 I think is start record. So if I would hit play on macro 1, it would tell that there's no hard drive, but it would tell that to start recording. So, is there anything I missed? Gotta control this here. If you have to control audio, there is audio here. You can see the audio coming in. If I hit play on this computer here, and I turn this back up, you can see audio coming in through the XLR and the master. That's where you're always going to see it. But also, I can control the switcher here if I needed to. Preset 3, take. Preset 5, take. I can get on this laptop, and anywhere on our network, I can control the switcher. So on Sunday, since both of our campuses, actually all 3 of our campuses are literally on the same network, I can get on my laptop at Northwest and control this switcher and change the, and run this switcher from the Northwest campus.
So you don't even need it.
The problem is I can't see the feeds. I can only control it, but I can't see what's actually on the screen. And there was one time where I was accidentally controlling this router from Northwest, trying to do something on the Northwest router during service. And I was changing, I'm like, why isn't it changing? Why? Oh, I'm connected to the Southwest router. And I was changing and I guess what had happened, I changed the inputs to one of the projectors. So one of the projectors actually changed to like camera 2 or something like that because I was doing adjusting the wrong thing. So got to be careful on that, but yeah. And then there's your statements. Those are your mission statements for those positions. So you got to be both of those. You guys good? Thank you for being here today. Sorry, it was a flood of stuff. This video will be put online, and you'll be able to reference everything that I said again. We'll get links out to everybody, and you can take those with you. That way you have them and whatever notes you took or whatever you had. Yeah, so then I'll make sure that once I put it online, I'll make sure Derek gets a link out to you guys. You can watch the class again as you need to. And I'm going to send that link to all of our current TDs and directors and ask them to watch it because there's some new requirements, new expectations that we're going to be having for everybody. I want everybody to see that. You guys good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get everything shut down and get over to my daughter's birthday party.